Welcome to the Budget Mom YouTube channel. I'm Kamiko from thebudgetmom.com, and this is Ryan.
Hi.
And we are back for another budget recap. This time we're going to be going over our August numbers. A lot happened for me in August. I was over budget in two, majorly over budget.
It's fine.
In two of my categories. So this is where we're going to document where our dollars went in August, what financial goals we met, and what setbacks we had. Okay, so we're going to be talking about our August numbers, and right off the bat, I can say by looking at my Where Did My Money Go worksheets, I had two categories that I went over by a lot.
Ditto.
Now, when I say I went over budget, it doesn't mean I didn't have the money. It just means I either had to use a sinking fund or I had to use another source. So whether it be savings or another option that I had to use to get to the amount that I needed for that over budget category. So for me, my biggest thing was pets. As you know, my beautiful baby Toby, he got fixed in August. Now I do have pet insurance. I have nationwide. And when I reached out to them, apparently getting fixed is not 100% covered, so they only gave me $40 of the $421 that I ended up paying.
What is
but
savings? The money is money.
Right, but the great thing is I had my checking account cushion, and I did have some money that I rolled over month after month in my pet envelope that helped with that. And then my next one was beauty. I went in and I got rid of my highlights. I said goodbye to highlights, hello to natural.
Hello, natural.
My highlights were just bugging the crap out of me.
I get that. That's like upkeep.
It is. It was
can't
the
stop.
upkeep,
Yeah.
and I mean, look how dark my natural hair is. Having yellow in your hair when your hair is this dark, it was driving me nuts.
That's true. It probably
because
wasn't
it
the
was
best
just
for
like
your hair either.
line straight across my head, and it was just making me feel so not confident.
Right.
And it was just bringing me frustration. So I went in an unexpected beauty expense to go get my hair done to get rid of my highlights. So that was my next big thing. Do you have anything major in August?
Okay, August was kind of a crazy month. I had my boyfriend's birthday and my best friend's wedding. And there was a lot of unexpected expenses with that we'll talk about later. But food was the one that I broke the budget with this month.
And food is the category you struggle with the most.
Yeah,
right?
and in July I was actually under, but what I
then come August.
Here comes August. So part of it was, I think this might have happened in an earlier month, but kind of just when I went grocery shopping was one reason why I was over. It shows up over monthly, but I still had the money.
Explain that.
So I get paid on the 5th and the 20th. So basically my 20th paycheck, my food budget, I had to last until the 5th of August. And I went grocery shopping during those first 5 days of August with my 20th income. So it looked like I was over budget for the month, but I had the money in my envelope. So that was one of them. And then there was another debt. Savings. It looks like that was really... Oh, gas. Gas was the other one. We had to drive over to Seattle, which is about 5 hours away, so my boyfriend's mom could watch our dog, and that was kind of unexpected.
When you told me this story, I could not believe you drove all that way to drop off your dog.
Yeah, for one night.
For one night.
It was crazy. We did about 16 hours of driving. That was kind of
unexpected. To drop off the dog.
Yeah, just for one night. So that was unexpected. So I was
drop off the dog for one night.
It was crazy. And we drove 16 hours. And then we went to a wedding and drove back. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was worth it. The wedding was a blast, but it was a long weekend. So I was $140 over in my gas budget too.
And where did you take the money from to be
Just
over?
my checking account cushion.
Your checking account cushion?
Yeah, I had money in my checking account, so that's what I used for that.
The checking account cushion. Okay, So when we are closing out our budgets, essentially we are looking at our spending. Okay, tracking your spending is one thing, but it's another thing to take it a step further and actually look at what your spending is telling you. Why is that important? It's important because it's really hard to change things in the future if you don't know what to change.
Yeah.
So you have to take the time to look at your spending. Not only that, it allows you to see if you are reaching your financial goals month to month or over a shorter amount of time. Also, you can do it yearly too. You can see those trends yearly as well if you want to, but really it's a matter of looking at what your spending is telling you, because it's telling you some really important things.
Yeah.
So for us, this process is looking at our expense trackers, analyzing that information, organizing it into an efficient, easy to understand way that makes sense to us. Now, you track the same way I do.
I do.
Ryen is a manual tracker. I'm a manual tracker. We use a process called the highlighter method to organize that information. So budgeting and finances and organization, they go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. And I've learned that on my journey.
For sure. That's
it's
true.
Really hard to be successful with your finances if you don't learn the skill of organization. And this is how we organize all of that information into ways that make sense for us.
Right, and just so quick to like refer back to, for sure.
Yeah, like being able to refer back and say, okay, I mean, think about this. If you do this process long enough, that question of how much did I spend on Christmas last year?
Yeah.
How much did I spend on this birthday last year? Or what did I do with my spending this last year?
Yep.
You know, or even whatever it may be, a month ago, 2 months ago. It's easy to just go back and get that information, which ultimately helps you plan better and budget better, because then you have what you did last time, so you can better prepare or cut back or add more.
Oh, for sure.
Based on that information. So especially Christmas spending, which we're getting really close to.
So close.
And I'm biting the bullet. I'm going to be buying some Christmas decor this week.
Getting started.
So let us show you the worksheets that we use to organize closing out our budgets, called the Where Did Our Money Go worksheets. So the first Where Did My Money Go worksheet is our monthly budget category breakdown. Now with this, what we are getting all this information from is our expense trackers. So Ryen and I both do the same thing. Anywhere in our life there is money movement, we have a separate expense tracker.
Right.
So for me, the only places I have money movement are cash, and then I also have my checking account. Mm-hmm. So this is what my expense trackers look like. And essentially, I highlight my categories based on colors, and each color represents a different category in my budget. That way, I'm a visual learner, and it's true, women are usually visual learners.
Sure. I totally agree.
So when I look at my expense tracker, immediately I see all the blue, which tells me it's food and savings. Mm-hmm. Where did my money go? Oh, food and savings. And then with my checking account, it gets a little more diversified, but there's still a lot of blue for savings.
Yep.
And I can see automatically pink is all my utilities and so on. So at the end of our tracking period, which for Ryen and I, it's the first of the month to the last day of the month, we then add up all of our different expense trackers and the amounts for those specific categories. That's where we're getting the information on our Where Did My Money Go worksheet. Remember, you already did all the hard work of tracking your spending. Okay, you did all of this work. Now what you're doing is you're organizing it into a digestible way of understanding it. So this is our monthly budget category breakdown. Essentially, where did our dollars go? Here are all of my different categories. Now you might see one that I don't usually have, which is medical. I did have a small copay to pay for my birth control visit. I have to go once a year to renew my birth control. So that showed up as $23 this month. Now, if it's in green, I was over. If it was in red, I was under. Now, when I say over and under, I essentially just mean I was over what I was planning on spending during my tracking period, which you can see those limits here. So the two big ones for me were pets. I was over by $457, but I had a huge expense. And if you look at my expense trackers, you can see I had a vet visit that cost $421. So if I didn't have that vet visit, I'd be really close to what I estimated to spend on my pet category. Yeah. My next one that I went over budget by quite a bit was my beauty, over by $102. But once again, if you look at my expense tracker, you can see on my beauty envelope right here, $160.
Yeah.
So if I didn't have that unexpected beauty cost, I'd be really close to my estimated for that budget.
Right.
Those were the two big ones for me. I did go over in my household by $73, and then of course I went over in savings. You always want to be over your budget on savings because you want to save more than what you estimated. I was off by $1. Now let's talk about my income. I had a starting balance in August of $985. Okay, that means I started tracking my money. I had $905 in my checking account plus $80 that I rolled into August from the previous month in my cash envelopes. That's where I got my starting balance. Incoming income for me was essentially $600 that Chris gives me every single month to take care of half the expenses. My paycheck income, the $40 that I got from my pet insurance to cover some of the costs, and that was pretty much it. And then, so my total monthly income was $5,857, but you can see not all of that is earned income.
Right, right.
Some of it's from Chris, some of it was from getting reimbursed for my insurance, some of it was my starting balance. So that's what my August monthly budget category breakdown looks like. I was off by $1 too.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, so my starting balance was $574.22. I had incoming income of about $3,400. Now this, I had a few different things actually. I had birthdays. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. Cody's birthday. I got refunded for a few things that I bought on Amazon. So there was a few different streams of income coming in for August. So that brought up my total monthly income to $39.76. Like I explained earlier, I was over in my food and gas were the two big ones.
Hey, you same as me. If you're over, it's green. If it's under,
I
it's
know.
red.
I don't know why I did that this month. It's always opposite for
Me
me.
too. Me too. But I already highlighted
Oh, that's how I was.
I already highlighted, so I'm like, well, that's what it
That
is.
was weird. I was even thinking about when I did it. I highlighted it and I was like, dang it. Now I'm going to have to explain why I did it the opposite. That's so funny you did that too. Oh my God. Okay,
Oh,
so
man.
like Miko, like she was saying, you always want to be over budget in savings. And for me, debt. Since I have debt, I always want to be putting more towards debt than I budgeted for. Other than that, it wasn't too bad. I had a few different things. I had my boyfriend's birthday. I had $150 set aside. My friend's bachelorette party, I had $150 set aside, but that ended up getting canceled. So that money just kind of I used for their wedding gift.
Okay, so one thing I do notice is the way that we categorize or how our budget categories. Now, you can see in my budget categories, I have a holiday category.
Yeah.
So this is what I use for birthdays, holidays. That's my holiday thing. Mm-hmm. Even things like weddings and stuff like that, I would put under my holiday.
You all do it under holiday.
Under holiday. So you break yours down. Now, when you do, okay, for instance, when we're tracking our yearly spending, right? We're looking at all the categories. Do you literally write down each event?
No, I don't. I do it. So in this case, I do birthdays as one.
So you have one
Christmas, yeah.
So you have one birthday category.
Yep. For this though, because I never really go to weddings, I honestly for this year I'd probably just categorize it under wedding.
And that would be it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
I just noticed that you break it out. I do
I
not.
didn't think about doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just to simplify it.
Right, for sure.
But there are some people who are like, okay, what's included in holiday?
That's why I did it, is because I didn't want to have to go back to my expense trackers if I do ever look back at it and be like, okay, what did I?
Yeah, that is a really good point. How far is too far when simplifying?
Yeah.
It depends on what you are wanting to know.
Right, exactly. And kind of what makes sense, I feel, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just noticed that about our stuff.
That is so funny. That's true.
So you were off by 78 cents. You did better than me.
I am usually like $10 or over, so that's a win.
Yeah, that's a win. So the point of the monthly budget category breakdown is exactly that. It's looking at not just your spending, but what categories, where are your dollars going?
Right.
What specifically? And it's breaking it down into an organized way, which is your budget categories, to see that information. Now, the next worksheet that we work on is our Where Did Our Money Go worksheet. It's the monthly debt and savings breakdown. The whole point of this worksheet is to figure out if your spending is aligning with your financial goals. And one of the hardest things to determine is if you're tackling many different goals, how much of your dollars went towards each goal? Well, in your goals, you should have priorities, meaning you are wanting to tackle certain goals faster or quicker than others. So for me, I don't have debt, but I do have savings. Now, for the month of August, I saved $2,237, which was 38% of my income. That's really important information to know. But within my savings, I am saving for many different things. And I want to make sure that the savings that are most important to me are the things that I am tackling the most. So I save for sinking funds, my son's 529, landscaping, the $5 challenge, and the 2020 challenge. If you look at these percentages, 58% of the money that I saved went towards sinking funds. So it's literally down the list. It was my top 3 were sinking funds, 529, and landscaping. And if you were to ask me, Miko, what are your priorities with your savings? That's what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
So it proves to me that where I am throwing my dollars is going towards what matters most to me. And that's the point of this worksheet.
Yeah. Okay, so for me, I was able to put 21% of my income towards debt. Usually I strive around to hit about 25 to 30, but there were a few things I cash flowed, like wedding expenses that I cash flowed for the month. So I wasn't able to do as much as I normally do, but I was still able to put. So my school loan is my main debt priority right now that I'm focusing on. The minimum payment is $25. So I was able to put quite a bit more towards that. And then the $508 is just my minimum car payment.
Perfect.
So I was able to put a total of $816 to debt.
Even with the wedding.
Yeah. Which was really, I know,
That's
I was
really
so
good.
stressed about it. But whenever I did this, I was like, okay, it's not as bad as
It's
I thought.
not as bad. Love that.
Not as bad as I thought. And then for savings, I was able to put about 8%. The 2020 savings challenges, sinking funds, the trip. I actually just got back from seeing my mom and my brother over in the Midwest, and then car maintenance. And just like Miko, my highest ones were going to see my mom, sinking funds, and the 2020 savings challenges. Just because I have a new car, so I only do about $20 a month for that.
The car
sinking
maintenance.
fund. Yeah.
So this is a perfect example. Now, I don't have debt, but this is a perfect example to show you can do both.
Yeah.
Ryen is still living life, right?
Yeah.
Her life is not on hold.
Right.
Because she has debt.
Right.
What she's doing is she's prioritizing that balance between living life and paying off debt. So this is a great example of that happening, that you can obviously tell paying off debt is her number one priority. 21% of her income went towards debt, while the other 8%. But it just goes to show small amount towards savings when you're paying off debt can make such a huge difference. I mean, you went and just saw your mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're still saving for the future.
Right. And I was able to, you'll see this in September's recap, but I was able to save enough to go see my mom in like 2 paychecks. So it was nice just to be able to have that flexibility of, 1 month I'll sacrifice putting more money towards debt just so I can accomplish my goal in savings. So,
right. And it's temporary.
Right. Exactly. It's not going to be like that every single month.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so the last worksheet that we use for our budget recaps is the monthly spending comparison. So this worksheet is all about, are you hitting the short-term goals, financial goals in your life that you should be setting? Now, every single month, no matter how long you've been budgeting, I've been budgeting for over 10 years.
Wow.
Okay, this has been a long process and journey to perfect this system for me. But even with all that experience and even with all that knowledge and how good I have gotten at budgeting, I still set goals.
Oh, for sure.
From month to month. You should always be striving for your budget to be better.
Yeah.
And better and better. Because I'll tell you right now, if you set a budget and say, okay, and wash your hands and say, that's it, I did my budget, that process is over. That's not true. This is a working and implementing the system into your life will go on forever.
Yeah.
If you have money and you are spending money, you are making money, you are striving to make your budget better every single month. That's what this worksheet is all about. It's reminding you, hey, last month I challenged myself to do better in my grocery budget this month. Did it actually happen?
Right.
People when they set goals with their finances, they always think such long term, such big, huge, big, huge goals. I want to pay off all my debt. I want to save for a vacation. But what about setting the small goals from month to month that allow you to hit the bigger goals down the road.
Yeah, and I definitely think that helps with motivation too. Because if you set yourself those big goals, you won't really see that progress, you know, because you're thinking about, oh, I want to pay off $20,000.
Right.
But you're not going to do that in 1 month.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I
but
love
you
that.
do set small goals from budget to budget or tracking period to tracking period or month to month.
Yeah.
To hit that big goal.
Right.
You need to recognize and make sure that you are completing those small action steps that will lead to the bigger success.
Yeah, it'll show you that you can do it.
Right.
That's so true.
So for me, that we're comparing July to August here. Now, if it was in green, I spent less this month than last month. And if it's in red, I spent more than last month. Mm-hmm. There was only a couple of categories where obviously we talked about my beauty and my pets. Those were huge for me. Obviously, I don't have medical every month, so that was a little bit more. And then my other ones are really small. Like fun, I was over by $2. Insurance, I was over by $11. But here's where I really wanted to tackle. And every single month, seems to be a recurring goal for me, is keeping my food costs low. Because I feel like if I don't constantly challenge myself in that area, it can easily get away from me.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, we're a small family of 3. I am so beyond blessed, like with my food budget, because we have no diet restrictions and I don't have a picky eater for a son. Yeah. My son literally pretty much eats whatever I lay in front of him. And
that makes it easy.
And the times where he questions things, we have a motto in my house. You don't knock it before you try it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, he tries it and he likes it. So I always strive, and I hit that goal. I was $65 less this month than last month. Mm-hmm. And that was really my only major goal. I did have a decrease of my income by $886 from July to August. And that is the main reason for that is because in July is one of my biggest months of the year. We have Chris's birthday that I'm tackling.
That's right.
We had sinking funds that I used in income. And if you go back to my expense trackers in July, you can see I used 4th of July savings. I used Chris's sinking fund savings for his birthday. I used James's.
Costco even.
I used James' sinking fund. I used my Costco sinking fund.
Wow.
So if you add all these up, there's 2, 4, 5, 6. There's $600 of the change right there.
Yep.
So that's why my income decreased in the month of August. But overall, I mean, look, in August, I spent $5,856 for my total expensive. That includes my starting balance. In July, I spent $6,749. Well, there's my difference.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. The reason we put the monthly income change up here at the top is because if you are dealing with either more income or less income, your spending better be compensating for that. Mm-hmm. For example, if I had $886 less in income this month than I did last month, my spending better not be more than what I spent last month.
Right.
So you have to make sure there's a correlation, which there always should be, between your income and your spending. Remember, the number one way to build wealth is making sure that you do not spend more than you make. Yeah. This is checking that.
I haven't even been putting my totals down here.
Yeah, so you already have this information.
Yeah, right.
I always total it because I want to make sure that it's corresponding to my change in income.
I just noticed that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I also had a decrease of $713 income-wise. Again, food and gas were the 2 budget killers for me in August. But other than that, I was able to put 21% towards debt, like I said earlier. Overall, I wasn't too disappointed. Like I said, I cash flowed like the wedding expense, the wedding gift too.
What's this Rye?
Okay, so what I decided to do, because I don't really have a beauty envelope because I don't spend it every single month. So what I decided to do is I actually got rid of my fun, and I'm kind of combining my fun and like my beauty envelope into just this, my Ryen. It's just like my personal envelope.
You are now incorporating a personal allowance.
Yeah, pretty much. Right. And I decided so in August I did have a fun category, but in September you'll see I actually cut that out.
And it's just a Ryen.
Yeah, it's just a Ryen.
I love that. So there are some, like, I don't have a Kamiko allowance. Yeah. Okay, I literally break down a pathway for all of my dollars. However, There are some people, especially this happens a lot with married couples, they choose to give allowances, meaning, hey, you have this spending allowance for you personally. You choose however the heck you spend it.
Right.
But it's your allowance and that's the category. That's essentially what you're doing.
That's exactly what I'm doing, yeah. And like if Cody and I, kind of like what you were saying, like an allowance, couples do it. If I want to, if Cody and I want to go out on a date night or something, I can use that instead of having to budget in my food if I have enough for that.
I love that.
That's why I decided to do. And like I said, in September, you'll see that I totally cut out my fun budget and just included that in my Rye.
Now Ryan has a personal allowance.
Woo-hoo.
Now I'm glad I asked that because that's a major change.
Yeah, that is a big change.
That's a big change.
Yeah.
So that is our August budget recap. Now, for me, like I said, I did hit my goal of staying under budget for my food. Ryan's got a new personal allowance going on, okay, which is huge. And we talked about some of the ways that we are different when it comes to categorizing our expenses.
Yeah, I never even realized that.
The holiday thing going down. So, closing out your budget. Now, people see these worksheets and they think to themselves it's a lot of work. Yeah. But remember, the biggest rewards in life come with the hard work.
For sure.
And for me, what I really learned about myself closing out my budget is I discovered hope by doing this. And discovering hope on your journey is critical. Seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but not only that, realizing and seeing your progress along the way. And that's what these worksheets do for us. What do you think about August?
It was okay.
Girl, autumn
There was a lot going on. But
autumn is coming. It's here. I woke up today.
My gosh.
It was 40 degrees outside.
I can't believe it. When I went to my mom lives in Oklahoma. When I went over there actually 2 days ago, it was like 97 degrees and stupid humid. And I landed and it was like frigid.
I know. Autumn is coming.
So cool.
Autumn is coming. So the next budget recap will be coming back for September. Oh! If you found this video helpful, please like it and don't forget to subscribe. Can't forget that part. Is it August or September? Or no, it's October. No, it's September. Gosh dang it. I highlight my categories. Kitty.